On this edition of inLIfe, we're in Quincy, Illinois, where we'll explore some unique older homes. We'll talk to a group that's bringing trees back to Main Street, and we'll learn about an organization that's preserving a historic city cemetery. That's coming up on inLIfe. This program is brought to you in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and through the financial support of viewers like you. Thank you. Funding for art segments on inLIfe is provided by the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency. Long known for its historic classic homes that line Main Street, Quincy's reputation as a city where style and craftsmanship are more the rule than the exception continues to grow. With that in mind, we set out to explore a few of the unique homes in town. Our first stop was the home on the corner of 18th and Main. Known as the Baldwin Dayton Emery House, the Queen Anne home with its Gothic and classical elements dates back to 1880. Its current caretakers are Riddell Noble and Charles Rollins.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Riddell. How are you?
Great. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's great of you to let us take a look at your house today.
Well, welcome to the Baldwin Dayton Emery House.
Thank
built
you.
in 1880.
Tell me a little bit about the history of your home.
Well, all the first three owners were industrialists. Ebenezer Baldwin was in farm implements. Dayton's were in paper, and Emery's were in banking and stoves.
So everyone was making money.
They were making money, and
Right.
And the place to live was Main Street.
Ah, right. Very up and coming place.
Oh, it was.
That part of town.
All the prominent people lived here. Yes.
And so your home has been owned by how many people? Do you know?
About 8 different people over the years. I think we're the 9th. But it was in apartments for 40 years. And so there were a lot of people lived in this building.
Right. Well, why don't we take a look around and you can show me some of the unique aspects of the home.
Great.
Riddell, you're from Baltimore. How did you come about owning a home in Quincy?
Heard about Quincy. To us, Quincy was Quincy, Massachusetts. Never heard of Quincy, Illinois. But heard about it, saw some advertisements for houses on the real estate market, and drove out and bought a house. And fell in love with both the community and especially this house.
Right, now this room that we're standing in, what do we call this room?
This was the front parlor.
Okay.
Extra large, 12-foot ceilings. We have a back parlor totally separate from the front parlor. This was the room that was used for funerals and weddings and all the big social events of the family.
Now, a lot of the pieces in this room are as old, if not older, than the house itself. Why don't you tell me about some unique pieces in here?
I like to tell visitors that these 2 white chairs, English, 1840, they were 40 years old when the house was built. They were old furniture then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The chandelier, we brought it from Baltimore, 1860. Was originally totally gas. The mantle, fireplace surround, was original to the house and was here, but we brought the mantle mirror.
Now, it really looks like it came with the fireplace. That's an amazing fit.
It really does. The color, the design, and the age. The age is appropriate to the house.
Right, so it all fits. And you know, sometimes that's hard to do, to make what you have fit into a house that you're moving to. But you've done a marvelous job of that.
We were forced to. We had the furniture here. We had to find a place to put it. And it did work out really, very well. We're very pleased with the way the house works and how we live in the house.
Right. Well, why don't we take a look at the dining room?
Okay.
What can you tell me about this room?
Well, the chandelier, which is both gas and electric, we brought from Baltimore as well, about 1865. Made at a time when electricity was not reliable.
Okay.
And so you had to have both gas and electricity. Gas was the backup. The buffet sideboard is our oldest piece. It was made in Baltimore. It's mahogany and mahogany veneer, original sandwich glass knobs, pulls on it. It was made in Baltimore, as I said, about 1810, 1815.
Wow, it's a magnificent piece. Now, this chandelier, if you were to actually pipe the gas through it and those would work, that would put off a lot of not only heat, but smoke as well, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. The house had maids.
Not
only to light these and extinguish them, but to keep the rooms clean from the gas.
Right. Towards the back of the house is a second parlor. After doing a little detective work, Riddell believes it was used primarily by men back in the day. Today, its features include the original walnut pattern ceiling, a combination gas and electric chandelier from around 1890, and an American Rococo carved rosewood melodeon. Dating back to 1863, it's one of two made that had a double keyboard. The other piece is in the Smithsonian. Riddell, how big is the home?
The home's about 2,000 square feet on each floor. We have the same footage up in the attic with also 12-foot ceilings. Basement is a bit smaller because of the size, width of the walls in the basement. It's a big house, but not nearly as big as some of the other more grand homes. And
you have what used to be the maid's quarters that's really large for its time.
We researched that because we were surprised too. It's a big room. And a wall has been added where there's a walk-in closet and a bathroom as well. From the census records, we found out that the original owners of the house moved here with a man and his wife. He took care of the outside of the house, the horses and the cows, and she took care of the inside and did the cooking and so forth. So we think they built that large room to accommodate them.
I see. Now this room that we're in now is the library?
We use it as the library. It may have been an upstairs sitting room. It could have been an upstairs office. It connects to the other bedrooms on each side. But we use it as a library. It has 7-foot windows, beautiful exposure, great in the wintertime to sit here and watch the snow.
Yes, I bet it's beautiful.
It is.
Now, one of the really unique pieces that I think in the room is this one. Tell me about this one.
Well, it has a unique history too. It dates from the time of sailing ships. Sea captains, when they came on board to take command of a sailing ship, often brought their liquor with them. And
understandably so.
That's what this is. It's a sea captain's liquor chest. It's locked. It's got handles on the side for lifting. And to make sure that nothing was spilled during a storm, everything was deposited inside.
I think that's great. And you know, actually craftsmanship for as old as this piece is kind of amazing.
It really is. It's the date, because it's such a specialized piece of furniture, it's very hard to find someone who will actually give us a date on it. But it is walnut, and considering the legs, it's probably English.
Okay. And the fireplace in here, can you tell me about that?
The fireplace is one of 3 original fireplaces in the house, and the ones we have are an indication that apparently every fireplace mantle in the house was different.
Oh, I wonder why that was.
Because they could afford it.
Okay, all right.
People built these houses, businessmen especially, because it reflected their prosperity, their success, and made them more viable in the commercial world. But also these fireplaces were used to heat the house. So every room had a fireplace. Again, the maids carried the wood and the coal and the ashes. This room, we took the color of the fireplace and the material, oak, and had bookcases built in Camp Point, installed here.
And still maintain that feel of an older home.
Yes, and again, because we protect everything that's in the house, the register, heat register, air conditioning register is built into the back of one of the shelves. The light switches are behind the books. The integrity is intact. It's important to us.
Riddell, this room is a great example of not necessarily restoration, but redecorating.
Exactly. This is one of the rooms we have redecorated. We try to keep the feel of the 1880s and the period furniture that's in the room, but we also wanted to make it just a little bit lighter touch, a little bit more contemporary. This is a guest bedroom, and we wanted people to feel comfortable here.
This bedroom has a bathroom that leads off to it?
It connects with the original bathroom.
Okay.
The original tub is still there. It also connects directly into the library. So when we have house guests, essentially they have a bedroom and a little sitting room. We have the library for a sitting room. It works really well because guests then are just on their own.
Yeah, I'll come stay here. This is great.
Great.
Wonderful.
The home has 2 more bedrooms upstairs. Downstairs, the previous owners had renovated the kitchen, which was fine with Riddell. Like many owners of older homes, it's important to respect the character and history of the home, while at the same time making updates and renovations that keep it functional. We'll take a look at a home over on Park Place in a bit, but first, a look at one group and their efforts to bring a special part of Quincy back to life. For decades, a stroll down most streets in town meant houses on one side, the street on the other, and trees overhead. But in the 1950s and 60s, many of the trees that lined the boulevards and avenues started coming down as a result of disease and decay. To bring the canopy back, a group of tree lovers got together and formed Trees for Tomorrow. Headed by Ann St. John, they started with the goal of planting trees along a 12-block stretch of Main Street. How did this project come about?
Actually, it was a gradual awakening, I guess you would say. The trees started disappearing on Main Street. Maybe one year you'd see 2 big old giants come down, the next year a couple more, and before you know it, it was obvious what was happening. We had this huge gaping holes in the middle of our beautiful canopy. And so people were commenting about it, and I was thinking about it. And then I was appointed to the Quincy Tree Commission, and I'm the chairman of the Quincy Tree Commission, and this year we were looking at our statistics, and I was appalled because in the last year, or 3 years, I think we'd taken down like 1,000 trees.
Wow.
Because they were dead, diseased, or fire or lightning, whatever. And we have a city tree program where we sell trees at a real low price to the people who want them, but we were only selling like 300.
So you were in the hole.
150 a year, I'm sorry, 150 a year. So when you take 150, 3 years, that's 450 trees, and we were taking down over 1,000. So I thought, wow, have to do something about that.
So with that, Ann set off to talk to City Hall, and while that sometimes can mean weeks of frustration, this project was received quite differently. Getting Mayor John Spring on board didn't take much convincing.
This campaign has been spectacular. It hit the ground running just a little over 3 weeks ago, and to date we've got almost all those trees sold, and these are pretty good sized trees. They will eventually create the canopy that we knew from back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and make this area once again terrific. Quincy is a tree city, USA, and has been for a number of years. As our friends from Germany like to refer to Quincy, this is the city in the forest. So we're trying to emulate that and create a forest up and down our main corridor, which we're so proud of. But it's a terrific project, and the community as a whole has embraced this wonderfully.
There are 9 types of trees available for purchase. Some of them include the thornless honey locust, October glory maple, and the village green zelkova. The week before planting, Ann and Bergman Nursery's Tom Fry walked up and down Main Street, staking out the locations. On each stake was the name of the donor and the species.
Okay, that's a Frank and Anna Stegeman.
Frank and Ann.
Frank and Anna.
The following Monday, the trees went in the ground.
Tom, tell me about your role in the project.
Well, I was contacted by Ann St. John to go ahead and get organized and try to figure out what trees would be best to plant along Main Street. And where we're doing a variety of trees because of diseases, we don't want to plant one certain variety. And we're trying to put all clean trees too, so we won't have a problem with the sidewalk with acorns and anything falling on the sidewalk. So we don't, that's a major problem sometimes. We don't want anybody to trip and fall. But we're doing a variety of trees, locusts and maples and zelkovia. So there's different types of trees that we are planting along here. So we're trying to get it for the future for the people that will actually be here a number of years from now, where the trees will actually form a canopy and go across the street as it did years ago. So it'll be a lot of color. Be fantastic color in years to come, the reds and the oranges, and there's hard maples and red sunset, autumn flame, a lot of different varieties of maples that we didn't have years ago that will truly color beautifully. for this time of year, it'll just be fantastic. So.
And while you might not think of trees as political, even though they sometimes lean to the right or left, trees have a place in city government in Quincy. In fact, they have their own commission.
Years ago, but the Tree Commission is a commission of folks that the mayor selects to help provide the beauty in our community, to work with the homeowners, to work with the city, to make sure that if we take trees down for reasons of new progress or new construction, that we replace those trees. And at the same time, we try to protect the vintage trees that we have here, and we'll go to great lengths to do that. We have great cooperation not only with the Tree Commission folks, but with our local nurseries. Berkman Nurseries in particular has been wonderful in working with us on this particular program, but all the nurseries here have a great idea of trying to stay focused on helping us keep the beautiful trees in our community.
And as for the future of Trees for Tomorrow,
well, you know, we thought we'd do Main Street from 12th to 24th, but we accomplished that so quickly, and we have people calling from all over the city who are saying, well, how about our street? How about our street? You know, we need trees. So, and I haven't even gone to any of the foundations that I thought I would go and say, hey, can you help us?
The other thing that struck me today is how the project does bring the community together.
Yes, it's amazing. It's just amazing. I had a bus driver drive by before, and he said, you know, give me the offer. He says, yeah, go for it, you know, and people that I don't even know wave at me on the street and they say, there's the tree lady.
for Anne, the project will march on into other areas of the city. If you'd like more information on the Trees for Tomorrow program and how you can buy your own tree, email her at treetmrw@adams.net. We learned about a home on one tree-lined street in town. In 1887, 15 acres of land near Jersey and 14th Street was purchased by investors Anton Binkert and John Cruttenden. By splitting it up into 64 lots, they created what today is known as Park Place. It was there where we found the home of the Sparrow family, looking much like it did when it was built back in 1891.
When you first saw this house, what was it that made you feel like this was where you wanted to live?
First of all, the woodwork. It's very warm and it's beautiful. It's hand carved, and it just gives such a warm, friendly family atmosphere. That's what drew us. That and the big open rooms. Mm-hmm. We knew that it'd be great for a family.
And how did you come about then being the owner of the home?
Well, my husband was the ward alderman, and we knew we kind of wanted to move into this area, but it wasn't in our ward at the time. And after the 2000 census, it became in our ward. So I called up a friend of mine on Park Place, and I said, do you know anyone who's going to put their house on the market? And at the time, she said, no, there's no one, but we've thought about it. And so in a couple of weeks, she had us come look at the house, and we put an offer on it, and we ended up living here.
Now that you've lived here for a few years, what are some of your favorite features of the home?
Definitely the big open plan, that the kids can run in circles and wear themselves out, and I can always see or hear them and know what's going on. And also then how close the upstairs is from the downstairs, because if someone's noisy downstairs, I still have people sleeping upstairs, and it works out real well.
Now, a lot of the original work of the home still exists today, and the owners over the years have gone to great lengths to preserve that, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Some of the owners have stripped woodwork. Others have maintained it in several ways. I know we've made our mark on the house in the few years we lived here, and so yes, it's very well taken care of.
Talk about some of the specifics of the original items that are still here. We've mentioned the woodwork, but there are some murals and other things.
There are. There's a mural from the 1920s done by a German artist, and we're really happy to have that. We also enjoy the stained glass windows. Give off some beautiful colors. There's one through our dining room that in the afternoon the sun comes through it and it's a rainbow across the floor. It's really pretty.
One of the unique aspects of this home, built in 1891, are these shutters, also built in 1891 when the home was built. There are tracks that are built right into the window frame that allow you to move these shutters up and down to control the amount of light that comes in the window.
While they love the touches that were built with the house more than 100 years ago, it was also important for them, as parents of young children, for the house to be functional as well, which is why the updated kitchen and small addition made the house that much more appealing.
Functionally, it works real well for us. We remodeled the bathrooms ourselves. The last owner did the kitchen. And we love old homes, and we love all the historic woodwork and all the features to them. But you also have to realize you can't raise a family in a museum. So it's nice to have the updates of the kitchens and the electrical and that sort of thing.
Like Riddell, they wanted to find the line between historical and livable.
In addition to the intricate woodwork here in the dining room, there is a unique mural on the ceiling. It was painted by the same German artist who painted the mural in the vestibule. Unfortunately, when the house was turned into apartments, flooding ruined the ceiling. However, they repainted it, trying to stay as close to the original mural as possible.
Also on the list of things they like are the numerous stained glass windows throughout the home.
Give off some beautiful colors. There's one through our dining room that in the afternoon the sun comes through it and it's a rainbow across the floor, and it's really pretty.
On the outside, you'll see quite a bit of stone. That's because the home was built by Frederick Menke, owner of one of the leading stone companies at the time. But the house on Park Place fits, and for the Sparrows, it sounds like it will be home for some time. Sitting high above the Mississippi is a place where the residents aren't too concerned about how the neighborhood looks. Luckily for them, the new civic group Friends of Historic Woodland Cemetery do. The cemetery was created in 1846 by John Wood. When he died in 1880, it was turned over to the city of Quincy. But because of a unique agreement, it's actually operated and maintained by the Woodland Cemetery Association. The new group plans on helping the association with not only preservation, but education as well. Coordinating the effort, Iris Nelson.
Well, the Friends of Historic Woodland Cemetery were formed last spring. We started meeting and talking about what we might do to further advocate for the cemetery, which is our only public cemetery in the city of Quincy. It is on the original topography of Quincy's early settlement, the only pristine land that is still around that reflects what all of Quincy looked like when it was first settled. So because of the topography, because of the stones that are here that reflect our community history, because many of those stones over time need a great deal of constant care. And many of them have, fallen or broken and need attention. So what we want to be sure to do is to be able to advocate for the preservation and maintenance of Woodland Cemetery in terms of its artifacts, its topography, its maintenance, and help the Woodland Association Board with their work to foster the heritage that is left here in terms of Quincy history.
One of the biggest concerns of the group is the damage caused by falling tree limbs and branches. Because many of the stones are so old, repairing them when they're damaged can be difficult, if not impossible. And that's unfortunate when so many of these headstones and monuments are as artistic as they are functional.
The architecture represents a lot of Victorian sentiments and style, of course, in the 1800s, and moves on into the 20th and 21st centuries, represented in different areas adjacent to the older stones. So one of the unique things about Woodland is that people are still buried and intermingled with the old community. So you might have an 1838 stone and you might have a 2005 stone, and they're side by side. Many cemeteries have new sections where they've added on, and that's where all the new burials will be. So in terms of the artifacts, in terms of the general topography and the story, we look at this as being more or less a tapestry of community history, and it's almost like walking on the pages of community history. You're walking through the lives of people who represented the civic, the business, the leadership of the community. And that is what we want to maintain as a legacy to future generations. And the Friends group hopefully will be something that younger people will pick up and will take it on into the future, so that the neglect that often comes to old cemeteries around the country doesn't happen here in our community.
You can get more information about the group by emailing Iris at friendsofwoodland@yahoo.com. That's all we have time for on this edition of inLIfe, Stories from Western Illinois. We'd like to thank Ann St. John, Tom Fry, Mayor John Spring, Riddell Noble, Charles Rollins, the Sparrows, and Iris Nelson for their time and for sharing their stories. Until next time, for all of us, I'm Becky Cramblit. Thanks for watching. If you have questions or comments, email us at inlife@wsec.tv. This program is brought to you in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and through the financial support of viewers like you. Thank you. Funding for art segments on inLIfe is provided by the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency. For a copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 for VHS or $24.95 for DVD to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and the date the program aired. You may also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.